What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Dummy Wimmy, and I'm coming at you with another video, and this is another one of my deep dive videos because guess what? GDC is coming next week, Monday to be precise. Now, what is GDC for all of those who don't know what this is? GDC is your game developer conference. This is where all sorts of different game developers, game workers, game individuals will be going to discuss stuff for a week with going-ons within the game industry itself. Now you might be wondering, Dermy, why are you talking about this? Why are you discussing this? Well, when it comes to GDC and some of the things that are going on there, we have all sorts of different panels, all of which go on for an entire week, ranging from start times from 9 a.m. going all the way till about 5 p.m. every single day over in San Francisco, by the way. Now again, you might be asking, Dermy, why are you discussing this topic? Why on earth are you bringing this topic up? Why do we care about GDC and what's going on over at GDC and everything like that? There's no real purpose in talking about GDC and everything that's going on there. Actually, there kind of is, because some of these panels are very interesting, and it goes to tell you how the modern game industry is run, some of the modern ideology that is prevalent throughout all of the game industry thus far. You want to know why it's so important? Well, I'll show you. We come right on over here to one of the very first ones called So You've Been Cancelled. Now what? Can someone who has hurt others, even repeatedly, actually change? What comes after the call out? What can someone do if they've been called problematic but aren't totally sure why? Or after losing friends, jobs, and networks, how does a person move forward if they want to become someone who won't cause that type of harm, even unintentionally again? For the last 2 years, Ray Speck has been talking to people in the game industry who have been called out, confronted, canceled, or fired for wrongdoing, harming others, or crossing boundaries or consent by balancing compassion and accountability. Respec believes that restoring humanity to the experience causing harm better fosters long-term changes. You seriously might be asking, why am I bringing this panel up? Why am I discussing this panel? Just scroll up right here to the speakers. You got Jalen, works for Feminist Frequency. Hi, Feminist Frequency, Gamergate era. Or maybe you want another panel from Fair Play Summit, Digital Thriving in a Post-Pandemic World, a Pro-Social Blueprint. Yes, talking about post-pandemic era, things of that nature. Well, when you also come up to Elizabeth Kimmel, oh, you get Qualitative Researcher, Take This. Oh, Take This? Yep, she's from Take This. You might be wondering, I recently heard about Take This. Yeah, they're the company that just put out this entire hit piece that said everything revolves around Gamergate 2 right now in regards to calling out Sweet Baby Inc. And they're also the company that's funded by the DHS. Oh, but it keeps getting better. We also have Game Narrative Summit, Comics to Games, Great Adaptations. I can just show you one of the people talking on this, Kim Belair, CEO, Sweet Baby Inc. And there she is yet again, Kim Belair, CEO, Sweet Baby Inc. This is why I'm going through this. These are the people on why I'm going through this. And when I went through this entire thread, trust me when I say I got a healthy dose of mental illness, a healthy dose of propaganda across the entire game industry. I found out why they are doing this and why they believe they are in the right to do this, to push their propaganda, to change the acceptance of everything, and why they feel like they are in the best possible position to do this. What are some of these panels, you might be asking? Well, let's step right up and play the GDC panel game, shall we? Why don't we start with this? Toxic spaces. That's right, they're wanting to keep safe spaces, to get out gamers from toxic spaces and things like that. Now, how are they thinking to take out these gamers, you might be asking? AI. Using AI to create safer online spaces. That's right, this is an entire panel discussing AI and how to use AI to properly mitigate toxic gamers and to make sure places are more safe and inclusive and diverse and get rid of people that say naughty things, all mean in games, you know, gamers. Yeah, No more Game Awards, guys. They're going to start using AI to try to get you out. What else might they be doing and revolves around toxic gaming? Royal on TNS. Toxicity and the bottom line. That's right. They really want to root out toxicity. This entire panel here solely goes over rooting out toxic players, because is the game industry really deserving of toxic players? Or the game industry really requiring toxic players? Can we still have money coming in without toxic players? Now, take note, they don't identify what a toxic player actually is or what toxic behavior actually is in this entire description of said panel. They just say toxic behavior. They just say toxic players. They don't fully go through what they actually are or anything about them. Heck, I can just point this out. Based on cutting-edge ongoing research, this talk will present a business case for effective moderation of toxic behavior in game spaces. It will demonstrate how toxic gaming communities negatively impact not only players' safety and player communities, but the fiscal bottom line. The talk will conclude with tangible suggestions for moving forward, including the expansion and refinement of existing moderation efforts and preventative resilience building strategies for community management teams and player communities. All sorts of discussion on toxic behavior and toxic gamers don't actually identify what toxic behaviors are or toxic players are, but hey, they're gonna root them out. They're also gonna use AI to make sure they're gone. Maybe there's another site that you want to go through. Maybe there's another course of discussion, because hey, that's just two separate panels. There can't possibly be any more chaos like that all throughout this game industry discussion, all throughout JEDC. Oh, trust me, there's more. How about if we talk about the climate crisis? That's right, we have climate activism going throughout all of video games, not just, eco-friendly environments and everything like that. Nope, climate crisis. Climate crisis workshop. Use your game developer superpowers to fight the climate crisis. Scroll down here. This full-day interactive workshop returns for the third time, streamlined and improved, to teach teams and individuals how to integrate climate change and climate resilience messaging into their games. Messaging propaganda. Through expert lectures and hands-on design activities, participants will both better understand the climate crisis and unlock their own superpowers as game developers, immediately applying new theory and practices to develop an original game pitch by the end of the day. Join us and become equipped to impact gamers and ultimately change the world with accountable design approaches. Participants will gain a deeper understanding of the downstream impact of the climate crisis on individuals and understand approaches to build people's resilience to those impacts. Man, climate activism. But there's not just one panel on climate activism. There's three. Building a climate resilient game industry roundtable collaboration between developers, scientists, and industry partners. Also, this one was canceled, by the way. I do have to point this out, but concrete climate action in the game industry. What should your studio do today? All sorts of climate action, all sorts of climate propaganda, all this strewn throughout video games, boasting about pushing propaganda in video games. But hey, there's no propaganda in video games. Ignore what GDC is saying at their own freaking panels. What next, you might be asking? Oh, trust me, there's tons more. We did climate, we did toxic gamers, and how they're planning to get rid of toxic gamers. What else could there be? Well, we have 9 different panels on non-binary and LGBTQ stuff, gender ideology across the board, and how they are presented within video games. I crap ya not. There's 9, ranging from Fair Play Summit, non-binary by design, which is presented by literally 2 they-thems. I'm not kidding you. Persistent gender roles within the game industry inform a great deal of content that gamers and devs observe, interact with, consume, and ultimately make. Joe Greylock, they them, and Rowan Noel Williams, they them, will talk about the challenges associated with creating content that is made by and for gender non-conforming folks. Oh, but there's more. We also have Future Realities Summit, learning from gender exploration and VR to design better social VR. The feeling of physical embodiment and the ability to find community internationally are powerful drives to in the influence of VR on its users. A subset of wider VR player base have used these benefits of VR to explore their gender identity and express inside of social VR spaces, utilizing VR to explore powerful forms of self-actualization. While this is a niche user group, and why actually focus on it, we can learn a lot about how they have used existing VR social systems to their benefit because their experience are more amplified versions of the general impact of VR on the general population. Using VR to spread gender ideology. Oh, that's great. We also have LGBTQA2S+. Oh my God, what the heck did I just say? Did I summon the devil? And Global Queer Community Roundtable presented by IGDA. Ha! Queerness around the world, guys. That's what they're pushing here. The LGBTQA, I don't even give a crap, and broader queer community faces unique challenges in the games industry, from discrimination and lack of representation in leadership roles and pay equity issues and workplace microaggressions. Oh my God, how horrible! Oh, but it continues on. We got LGBTQ Executive and Entrepreneurship and Allies Roundtable. I thought there weren't any LGBTQ people in leadership, but apparently there are. Join us at the Game Developers Conference for an inclusive and enlightening guided discussion tailored exclusively for LGBTQ plus executives and entrepreneurs. Our sessions aims to foster a supportive community where LGBTQ plus professionals and the gaming industry can share their experiences, challenges, and success. Oh God, it keeps getting better. Prismatic people, queer narratives beyond romance. Oh, that's right. We got to get more gay people in it. We also got Breaking Boundaries Roundtable, transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming game developers. Wait, I thought that was non-binary. Apparently not. We got Navigating Leadership Insights from LGBTQ Managers in Gaming, but I didn't think there were any managers in gaming. That's what the other panel just said, but apparently there are executives and managers. Voices of Authenticity, best practices for casting and representing queerness. Queer voices. Gotta love that. Finally, Empowering Diversity, LGBTQ plus professionals roundtable. 9 different seminars on solely being gay. Okay, all throughout a week, mind you. We're still just at the tip of the iceberg. So we had climate, we had gay, toxic gamers, all this stuff so far at the GDC. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. These are all panels that your game devs are actively choosing to do. This is an entire area where every game dev comes together just to talk about what's going on in the industry. I wonder why all these ideologies are prevalent throughout AAA industries and things like that, Maybe the game industry needs a little dose of CRT, mind you. Educators Summit, prototyping Afro-tourism, I can't even say that. Abolitionism, I think. I have no idea. And climate justice through games education. How can educators support students in learning anti-racist game design skills through prototyping unpoliced Afro-futuristic worlds? This talk provides answers to this question, sharing principles for learning experiences design generated through an education psychologically research study and learning in an Afro-futuristic and abolitionist themed critical game jam. Through a series of design activities, Black and LGBTQAI plus young people imagined, prototyped, and play-tested games that challenge systematic oppression, prototyping, and rehearsing Black liberation. The speaker presents videos, quotes, and images of their processes and their reflections on it, along with learning design principles. These principles include prioritizing world building as low barrier of entry introduction to critical game design, prototyping Afrofuturistic strategies for climate justice, and prototyping and rehearsing unpoliced futures. CRT, anybody? Oh, but it keeps getting better. Trust me, this one's wonderful. We have Independent Game Summit, the Black Gamic Language. This panel is 100% focusing on pushing Black games at the gamers. This presentation speaks to the newfound formation of Black Gamic language in a similar way to Gordon Parks, Marvin Van Peebles, Spike Lee, John Singleton, the Wayness brothers, Ava DuVernay, Charlie Dooney, Boost Riley, and Terrence Nass. Tanya Nass? Did I say that one right? I have no idea. Developed what Black TV and movies can be. Spencer Garland, along with other developers, are adding their ideas into what Black games can be. What new inherently Black genres can be added to the medium of video games? What characters or worlds can be created? To reference Andrew Benjamin, Black game devs have something to say. This presentation will go over the history of Black life represented in games, understanding media literacy surrounding stereotypical depictions of BIPOC people in games, the history of BIPOC game devs, and who is actively working to dismantle the systems that exclude Black life/joy in the medium. My lord! Black Designer's Dilemma. Oh yeah, this is also led by Kim Barlera of Sweet Baby Inc. She does this one every single year, mind you, in which all they talk about is being Black and being in the industry. Black Developers Matter Roundtable, embracing diversity in tech from developer teams to inclusive products, presented by IGDA. More CRT and focusing solely in on the Black stuff. Oh, but this is my personal favorite one, the next one. Authentic representation of Black hair in games. This is my personal favorite one. I just gotta be honest. They're so focused in on CRT and representation and Black stuff and everything like that, that we have to make sure Black hair looks accurate. That's how accurate it is. Going through all this, I didn't see any representations of white hair. I didn't see any representations of Asian hair. I didn't see any representations of Ukrainian hair. Literally, we'll get to that. Jewish hair, so on and so forth. Muslim hair. No, it's just Black hair that they care about. Interesting how all this plays out, huh? There's still more. I got a healthy dose of freaking brain cancer through all this stuff. Insane amounts of brain cancer. Mental illness up the wazoo within this entire GDC, within this entire conference. We also had Anti-Semitism in the Games Industry Roundtable, presented by the IGDA. I wonder why there's anti-Semitism growing in the games industry. I mean, just take a look at several game devs' Twitter accounts. You might see a little bit of a certain flag next to their names. You might see them in support of a certain situation that's going on in the Middle East. Maybe that helps the rise of anti-Semitism throughout the game industry. Just gonna say, oh, but they don't talk about that one. No, they don't. But they do talk about, leaving, I can't believe I'm gonna say this one, Arabstan, a collaborative approach to representing Muslims and the MENA. Yeah, this is an entire discussion about representation of Muslims in the Islamic world over in by Ubisoft and how they approach this in regards to Assassin's Creed. They had Muslims in Games Roundtable presented by the IGDA. Takeaway: the goal of this roundtable session is to come away with an action plan for how to bring together Muslim game developers everywhere. We have a rise of anti-Semitic actions throughout the game industry. They don't end up actually addressing why anti-Semitism is rising throughout the game industry. But I'll tell you one thing they do recognize. They do recognize the Ukrainian war. That's right. They 100% will recognize this war. They won't recognize what's going on in the Middle East, but they'll talk about both sides of both situations revolving around the Middle East, but they won't talk about the war over there. They're more than happy, though, to discuss the Ukrainian war. Unpause the Ukrainian industry in times of war. At least years, GDC Ellen presented a talk on how her team, GDBAY, organized a game jam for bomb shelters when the war first started in Ukraine. A year has passed, and Elena is returning to continue her story. If last year's talk was about crisis management in an extremely fast-changing environment, this one focuses on adaptation to change. Elena will share how her team, GDBA, and the entire Ukrainian games industry adapted to living and working in times of war, coping with constant blackouts, curfews, and existential threats. She will discuss how the job market has evolved, how business has preserved, and how the crisis has paradoxically become a driver of success. So they're willing to talk about the Ukraine situation. They have a panel on the rise of anti-Semitism. They have a panel on Arabic ideology, you know, representation of Arabs, representation of Muslims, all this stuff going on over at GDC. They're not talking about that war. They're more than happy to talk to you about the Ukrainian war, though. Oh, they love talking about the Ukrainian war. What about teams? What about team building? Keeping your teams together in these trying times throughout the game industry in regards to layoffs, in regards to all the chaos that's going on, studios shutting down, games not being funded properly, games not making back the money that they actually want to have it make back. You know, all these different situations that's going on throughout the entire industry. Maybe they should be talking about that a little bit, right? Right? Well, they kind of do. Independent Games Summit, protecting your team, founding your studio on people, not product. What? Wait. So instead of making a studio around a particular game, you know, maybe a bunch of people that work really well together to put out a particular game that you guys want to put out, you're now advocating for, instead of making a studio around like a game, why don't you make a studio around a bunch of people, inclusive people, diversity people, everything like that, because that is what this whole panel is all about. Trust me, I read it. Industry has been wrecked with studio closure after closure, an increased lack of support, and an ever-tightening job market, leaving many developers feeling frustrated and devolved. But before you resign, have you thought about starting your own studio to make that change yourself? Well, considering the ever-changing market right now, probably a bad idea. To accomplish that, our speakers will provide actionable resources, tools, and best practices to help you embody a developer-centered culture. Topics will specifically speak to the process of building a studio and address the following questions. What inspired your studio to take a people-first philosophy? Why people first? Why not game first? I mean, the game should always be the most important thing, the product, you know, but okay, people. How do we walk the walk? And what are the stumbling blocks you've found along the route? Well, I'm willing to bet not putting out a product. With this shift, what worked, what had to change, and why is that unique to this perspective? I mean, where's the product? Where's the discussion about the product? Where's the discussion about the game? Oh, you guys don't really care about putting out games for gamers because you hate gamers. How has this belief enabled you to recruit and retain diverse employees? The road to making a better industry is challenging, but the value of making a safe space for developers to thrive in is worth it. Where's the discussion about the games? Oh, they don't care about the games, but they do 100% care about, you know, keeping their jobs, because you end up coming over here for this one. Now is the time workers in games are ready to form unions. Yeah, now is the time. Game industry, unite! The time for game workers to organize is now! Join the movement with a discussion about what works at games can do to change their working conditions for the better collectively. What can workers do collectively change the industry? Panelists, including workers in games, will discuss the topic of unionization and give clear and actionable steps for what's next for laborers. Topics will include laborers' rights as workers, what employees might do, how they can start the process today. Following this event, a question and answer session and strategies for moving into a union campaign will occur. Unionize! That's right! Don't focus on the product and unionize! In a constantly industry that's laying people off left, right, and center, and the economy's so bad, we need to unionize! We also had Staying in Play Roundtable, gender-specific strategies amidst game industry layoffs. They focus in on the layoffs, but hey, let's make it gender specific so that we can make sure individuals don't contain their jobs amid all these layoffs. Oh, but hey, they had one panel on layoffs. They had one panel on focusing in on people over the product. I wonder why your industry's falling apart. We had a panel all about unionization. What else do we have? Game industry layoffs, preparedness roundtable. Hey, they're actually preparing you guys for layoffs. They're 100% preparing you guys. Even though they're still also talking about co-ops, unions, and other game labor structures. They're also talking about, we need to talk about game leaderships. Oh, why do we need to talk about game leaderships? Oh, we had 2 panels on everything else. Also going on in the game industry, we have Me Too stuff. We have all sorts of heinous actions, you know, horrible things. So we need to get these guys out of the industry and stuff. Even though our industry is falling apart, we're threatening to unionize and we're not focusing on the games. We need to kick the guys that actually make games and make profit out of the industry. Huh? Interesting. What else do we have? Oh, building a resilience industry through worker organizing and empowerment roundtable. That's right, more unions. I wonder why your industry's falling apart. Ideology, ideology, ideology. Unionize amidst layoffs. That's gonna save your industry. That's gonna help everything out. Even though you talk about 2 layoffs because layoffs are hitting your industry very hard right now, we need to unionize. Gamers of the world, unite! We had unionization. Okay, we had unionization. We had ideology up the wazoo. We had all this stuff. But you know what we didn't talk about yet? Because we talked about the black, we talked about war, we talked about gay, we talked about unionization, we talked about climate. What else do we got going on over here? Well, I'll hit you with one of my favorite ones because we had to have special people here because obviously we need to have special case individuals because you don't fall in any other category of stuff. So you just need to make up your own category. We have neurodivergency. That's right. What matters to us? Roundtable Neurodivergent Community presented by IGDA. Huh? IGDA. That's a lot of people right now doing IGDA stuff. Yeah, neurodiversity. All this stuff. For those of you who don't know, neurodiversity just means you're normal and you just want a special category. It's just like being queer. Literally is. We also have It's Not That Simple, neurodivergent, intersectionality, micro talks. Oh, you guys think it's not that simple to be neurodivergent? Kind of is. I mean, it just means your brain's normal. You just want to be very special. Yeah, guys have to make up a reason for it to be special and say, it's not that simple. Listen, I'm neurodivergent. Guys, I'm neurodivergent, okay? I'm neurodivergent, okay? I'm just going to let you know. That means I'm freaking normal. You have mental issues. Okay, so what? Everybody has some sort of chaos going on up there. It's just the reality of the world. Oh, but you guys need to be special. That's how it is. Neurodivergency. Yep, game devs talk about neurodivergency. We also had this one. I just want to throw this one in here because they always have to virtue signal on some level. Building cognitive accessibility into your games. Yeah, cognitive accessibility, you know, neurodivergent stuff, people that might be colorblind, people that might not be able to see out of one eye, you know, a lot of people like to say in regards to accessibility, they're also doing this for people that are crippled and stuff like that. Even though you have individuals like Mark the Cyborg, who's literally missing one leg. You have individuals, I can't think of this guy's name off the top of my head. I know he's a Twitch streamer who is literally, Handicapable Sean, who honestly has to play games through a sort of straw system because he has muscular dystrophy, I believe. He can't move his arms, but he was able to beat freaking Elden Ring. You had freaking all sorts of people that are crippled that were able to beat Elden Ring. There was no accessibility systems over there, but they were able to beat Elden Ring. All sorts of people were able to do it because even people that have handicaps want to play games. But no, you guys have to virtue signal and say that you need to be more special. We need to give them more accessibility. Even though the people that are handicapped and everything like that, and seriously handicapped, muscular dystrophy, unable to move their arms, have been able to beat Elden Ring. Got special needs just done, okay? Because all this stuff needs to be talked about. Your Game Developer Summit, my lord, trust me. Real quick, I had this wrote down. I do want to point out there was like 43 different panels just on social justice stuff. I'm not kidding you. There was like 43 different ones. I had to trim those down because there was just so many overlapping stuff as well. All this is being discussed at your game development conference. All these social justice things and how it is to impact the game industry, how it is to push games that are focused in on different ideologies, different thought processes, being special, being gay, talking about anti-Semitism, talking about the Muslim world and everything like that, discussing all sorts of stuff. Ukrainian war, black representation. Oh, also unionizing during the layoffs. What else do we have? Well, how about feminism? The rise of the female CEO, perspectives from the front lines. Oh, female CEOs, Ted Hut. My lord, Sweet Baby Inc. has a female CEO. How's that all handling for them right now? Just gotta say, not very good. Not very good. Oh, let's talk about female CEOs and how they're rising up. We also have, I don't know why this one's important, closing the gender gap and game audio design. Guys, and I will say this, over at GDC, they had tons of normal panels and everything like that. Level design, narrative design, things of that nature. Normal things. They had a lot of sound design and how sound design is important to video games. All sorts of stuff. So why the heck do you need to talk about the gender gap in game design or audio design? A gender gap in audio design? Okay, because you guys have to always find a problem somewhere. You have to find a problem somewhere. You can't always have what you want, but you beg for issues. You beg for struggles. This is all this like retroactive stuff. This is all seeking out a problem. Thinking there's a problem and going to seek it out. That's what this panel is an example of. There's a gender gap in game audio design, guys. Discussing over at your GDC. I wonder why games are shite right now. Oh, but I promised you guys there was going to be something towards the end of this that gave you guys all a realization on why this is happening, on what's going on throughout the entire industry, on how everything's being done. Well, why don't we just talk about diversity for a moment and just let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different examples of them talking about diversity and gender representation and things of that nature all throughout the game industry. Again, at your Game Developers Conference. We start right here. Game Narrative Summit, creating diverse characters, writing what you know and don't. And when you actually read this, it gets really cool. This lecture looks at character story and representation as a spectrum with two ends, writing a storyline that directly addresses an aspect of a character's identity and having a character who merely is an identity, and how to navigate writing for both as well as the world they inhabit. Oh, okay, so gamers usually care more about, characters that just happen to have an identity, that their identity is not everything about them. But no, they're blatantly, openly telling you that, hey, yeah, we have characters that are simply just an identity. That means they have characters that are just black, characters that are just gay, characters that are just lady, characters are just, scissor, all insert identity here. That's all that character is. A lot of people really are getting tired of those characters and are rejecting them outright. But hey, we're going to continue pushing them and saying, hey, there's no forced diversity at all throughout the industry. Even though we're telling you guys how we're writing them, we also had Educator Summit, how to teach representation, responsibility, a 7-point guide. There's no forced diversity throughout the gaming industry, guys. There's no forced diversity. We've all heard it before, and we can all agree. Representation in video games matters. But now what? How do we represent a group well versus poorly? Oh. How can we move beyond good representation to actively debiasing players? There's no forced diversity, guys. It's not there. We're not injecting characters for the sake of diversity. It's not there. We're not pushing any sort of ideology on you. Debiasing players. We're just putting them in there, but how do we do it well now? Just make a good character. Literally, that's all you got to do. Oh, but it keeps going on. Diversity in game audio roundtable. We already had the gender gap within game audio design. Now we have diversity in game audio design. All I gotta do is read part of this to show you how bad it is. Tech industries, including the video game industry, are predominantly composed of cis, white, male individuals. Thanks to the moments of social movements such as Me Too 2017, Black Lives Matter 2020, and Stop Asian Hate 2020 to 2021, efforts to address systematic issues and increasing, but there are still plenty of work to be done. It's absolutely critical to keep these conversations going as industry professionals with first-hand experience existing as diverse individuals in a homogeneity. I don't even know what that one words means. Dominated space. This group aims to lead these virtual discussions in order to facilitate lasting change. Wait, I thought this was all about game audio, but apparently not. Apparently this is 100% just about representation and forcing people out. But hey, I thought, diversity was key, but they're blatantly telling you what diversity truly means. Get rid of the cis white male individuals. And also pointing out that Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and Stop Asian Hate were all social movements designed to get rid of them. I wonder why your industry's falling apart. Retaining diverse employees, taking the next step in DEIB. I don't even know what that is. I know DEI, I don't know what the B stands for, but okay. Diversity, equity, inclusivity, and I don't know what B means. The push for quick diversity has given far less attention to retention and employee well-being once in the door, resulting in both high turnover and layoffs of employees and marginalized identities. Wait. I thought there was no forced diversity going on within the industry. I thought people weren't just we were hiring best for the job. Apparently right here, they're blatantly telling you, we're quickly getting these people in. We don't know what we're doing. So we're just putting them in there over and over again because we got to get them in there. Hey, so how do we retain them? Even though we're putting in people that probably aren't qualified for every single job? I wonder why your industry is falling apart. I wonder why you're having issues right now. I wonder why people are stepping away from all this because you have ideology all throughout this. Every single panel that I've gone over so far is solely ideology. Being an effective ally roundtable. I'll say that again. Being an effective ally roundtable at the Game Developer Conference. This is how you guys be an ally. This is how you guys push this stuff all throughout the industry. In being an effective ally, we discuss simple, everyday ways to support marginalized groups in their workplace and communities. Participants learn techniques that work at the office, social events, conferences, and online. Attendees are encouraged to bring up personal experiences and hypothetical scenarios for group discussion. Why is being an ally so important within the game industry? Seriously, guy, why are we discussing all this at the Game Developer Conference? None of this makes sense. I know they do have decent panels. They have A-OK panels. They have panels all about game design, level design, narrative design, things of that nature that don't focus in on ideology and stuff like that. But these are so pervasive throughout the entire industry, throughout the entire GDC. Guys, I marked down all of them. These are just a snippet of some of the worst examples of it all. But again, guys, you might be wondering, why is this here? What's going on here? Why is the ideology throughout the entire game industry? They blatantly tell you. Advocacy micro talks. Culture, civics, and karma. This panel tells you 100% why the ideology is there in the game industry, why the ideology is throughout all of the entertainment industry right now. They're telling you blatantly at this panel, and just at this example of what this panel is. Games are powerful force for cultural change. As members of the game industry, we are the ones who hold the power to direct this change. The impact of these efforts are felt within the industry as well as the world around us. And best of all, when done right, it comes hand in hand with popular, critical, and commercial success. Wonder why there's forced diversity, all these ideology there. Guys, there's no ideology here. You're just a bigot, okay? You're just a bigot. They're not doing this for any reason. The industry's just changed. They're not trying to force anything into this. The industry's just changed. This session spotlights 6 leaders from leadership, design, and community who are driving positive cultural change through games in 2024. Drawing from work on games such as Destiny 2, Among Us, and Thirsty Suitors? I don't even know what that is. This panel discusses how games shape culture and provide practical insights, including the value of inclusive and cultural specificity in design, tools to develop positive communities, and the key to creating the next generation of entertainment IP. The panel ends with a forecast of the changes to look out for in the coming year. They're blatantly telling you what's going on right now within the game industry. Outright telling you, guys, this is why looking at this stuff is so important. This is why you're getting ideology shoved through every aspect of the game industry. It's because they know the power of culture. They know what this stuff does and how to shape culture. They're doing it because they truly are trying to take over and trying to change everything the way they think they want to change. You have Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. is just one aspect to this. This is the game development conference. You have AAA studios all over the world coming to this. You have Tencent going to be there, largest game investor in all of China, going throughout all the industries. Hey, ByteDance is going to be there. The company that owns TikTok, yeah, they're going to be there. Google's going to be there. Meta's going to be there. You have Microsoft going to be there. PlayStation's going to be there. Square Enix going to be there. EA's going to be there. Ubisoft's going to be there. Bungie's going to be there. Almost every single AAA studio will be at this thing. And they're blatantly telling you what they are doing at every single AAA studio, at every single game journalist magazine, at every single place. They are forcing this change because they know what they are doing. It is on purpose what they are doing. The industry never changed. They decide to force the change. We went over Black Lives Matter. We went over Me Too. We went over Stop Asian Hate. We went over every aspect of this. Every reason our game industry is falling apart, it's because of them, not the gamers. This was never the gamers. This was every last one of these people pushing this ideology throughout the entire game industry and getting the people that actually want to make games out. But hey, it's just a conspiracy theory, guys. It's just a conspiracy theory. We're just crazy. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video, go live, guys. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.